This is the Jug O Sip podcast. Yeah, so I mix up Ed and with a single D and Eddie sometimes in my brain because they look like they should be. Then I hear Ed going Eddie, and then I remember.
Yeah.
But that's one of the saddest.
Well, let's go down the list. Probably. So you got Ed, the tall, stupid one, who is actually kind of a savant.
In a lot of ways.
He lives in his parents' basement.
And that's, sometimes cool, but in his case, it's not.
His room, first of all, his room is located inside of his room. Since it's in a basement, I believe there is a storm drain in there where, like, if there's leakage. It was still like a literal basement. It wasn't like a basement turned into an apartment or a bedroom. It didn't have carpet. It didn't have windows. They basically tossed a bed and a little area rug in the middle of the floor down there, and he just filled it with comic books.
And like a dresser, and that was about it. Yeah.
Right, and it's like he lives downstairs as like a blight to the family, and upstairs that's where Sarah lives.
And she has a fancy ass room. Sarah has a very like extravagant room.
Yeah.
And I remember one specific episode. Now I laughed. Like if you were ever abused as a kid, you might have laughed at this because you might have a fucked up sense of humor.
Yeah.
But one time they were like, Ed, where's your stairs? And he's like, my parents took it to punish me. And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, that's correct. I'm looking up Sarah's room.
Yeah, like, so, I mean, and when you look at Sarah's room, she has a canopy bed.
Yeah, Sarah has
which was considered fancy in the 90s.
Sarah has an all-white canopy. Yeah, there we go. Sarah has an all-white canopy bed. Her walls are pink. The door on her door is pink on the closet and the entrance.
She has those really nice like lace 90s curtains that every little girl had that had like upper middle class fit parents.
She has double carpeting. By that I mean she has a fully carpeted floor and an area rug that matches the color of the floor.
Her room is way bigger than mine was as a kid. She has a vanity.
Yeah, she has a vanity. She has a little
perfect
toy box,
little 90s girl's room, and she has like a nice bookshelf and all that shit.
Now, Ed's room.
Oh my God! First of all, it's filthy. It has a bucket in it.
Yeah, Ed's room's filthy.
And it's next to the washer.
Basically, the basement is larger than his room in the basement actually is.
Look.
Basically, his room in the basement is like it's like a partition. Like they just put up. You could see from the wall that the wall was just put up there as just these random planks. It looked
like the 90s. Remember, like not the 90s. You remember the 70s walls? Those really thin wood paneling walls that everybody had in their fucking dens in the 70s. That's what it looks like. Here, actually click that whole thing because this is a good thing to talk about because we were segueing to this anyway, the abuse of Ed, and Eddie. How
let me just, I'm going to download the picture and then I'll open it up.
Yeah, because it shows him getting leaked on.
So, so we have, sorry. So in his room, the picture that we're currently looking at is an episode where Ed wakes up because his bed is being leaked on. There's so much water on his bed that it was like there was a flood just on the bed, but really it just rained that day and there's no proper insulation.
It's a really sad picture, actually.
Yeah, there's no proper insulation over his bed and into the basement. So it's literally like they just walled off a space with some random wooden planks, threw him in there with a bed. He filled it with stuff.
Next to the washer and dryer.
Next to the literally you can see the washer and dryer on the other end of his door. And the washer and dryer is leaking fluid.
And he has like a TV in his room and a small things, but it looks like they just put all this shit down there to keep him entertained so he wouldn't come upstairs.
He has a TV with a VCR. And if you know Ed, and Eddy, you know Ed loves these old classic horror movies, these terrible horror movies. His TV has an antenna on it, but it's not hooked up to anything. The only thing the TV's hooked up to is that VCR.
So all he can do is watch movies, which I've lived like that. That's frustrating.
Right. In his bed, if I'm looking at this correctly, this is actually like one of those throwaway hotel beds. It looked like they took it out of a dump.
This poor kid is so very, and like he has a chair in there, but it's all patched up. It looks like it was also taken from the dump.
And a lot of this furniture looks like
an old tiki mask looking thing.
It looks like stuff that they just found in the dump that he liked. And unfortunately, because Ed is Ed.
He does have a window, but it's a small little thing.
Well, that's not really a window. That's like an opening to the basement. And he leaves it cracked open because it looks like that's the only way he can get ventilation in there.
Well, maybe it was just a nice day too. But either way, it's really fucking like, it's just sad.
It's really sad.
And now, like, look up, I think Double D had like a slightly better life.
Well, I want to do Double D's room last because in my opinion, I think Double D had the darkest room. So let's
really, I don't remember it. I really don't, but
let's see. Hold up. So Eddie's room, I found it was right here. Here we go. So Eddie's room.
Oh, it's kind of like a 70s pimp pad.
You can find us on Google and all social media at Jug O Sip Podcast.
New episodes release every Monday and Friday.